Alright. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Non-Classics, episode number 3300, and Doubleshot number 3194. I decided for this one to do some physical stuff here, and these two in particular basically covers a lot of one comic series, Ultimate Spider-Man. First one we have is a book I just got today. I decided to read it right away because I knew I was going to review it. So, we have Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Collection, Volume 7. Excuse me. Yes. This book collects issues 72? Yeah, 72 to 85. I had to ask for this book a few times from the library. I had to put basically for all those books there. I said, Volume 7, please. Eventually, they finally sent me the correct copy. Because the first time they sent it to me, Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 7 containing issues I had already reviewed. So, sent it back. They couldn't get it, so I ordered it again, and I got it. No problem. Yeah, so, here is what happens. So, apparently by issue 72, approximately 9 months have passed by since issue 1. But I should point out, though, publication-wise, it's been 6 years. This came roughly around 06-ish. So, after the flashback to issue 1, and then and there's also with Harry and MJ, where it looks like they're hooking up, of course they make out, and the kind of ending. This actually is a nod. This is Bendis basically a nod to the 616 universe, where these two did briefly date. And the weird thing was, he still had a thing for her, despite the fact he was married to Liz Allen, and she was pregnant with his child. Eventually got over it. So we get the present day, where we have the ultimate debut of Killer Strike, just beating up Spider-Man, and the scientists there are so confused of what the heck is going on. It just feels so random, and then Harry's back. Yep. And by the way, Norman's not here, and of course there's a reference here to a previous storyline. So apparently May and Peter decide to move. And of course, during the course, Peter breaks up with MJ because of her being around Harry. And of course, basically the whole mental, dating his girlfriend. That's why I think they weren't dated at that point. And there's flashbacks, so yeah. So then we have just Harry and Nick Fury here just talking in Colorado, have a conversation. And so, apparently, because I think that Norman is possibly declared dead, despite the fact, according to Peter, he's actually not dead, he's actually locked up. So, despite the fact that Harry could easily sell all the facilities that Zelda rags on, he's like, nope, it's his. And then he gets basically a random call after having a conversation with his grandfather, who he has pizza with, and he's picked up by a guy called Shaw. No, this is not Sebastian Shaw. It's just a guy randomly Shaw, who brings him. Of course, they chat up basically about some stuff, and he brings. And of course, we have a flashback to the second time he appeared in the series, when of course he actually got arrested, and supposedly he got killed, but there was no evidence to prove it. So there's flashbacks to it, and they arrive at a door, a cellar door. They open it up, and then there's a flashback basically when Harry was talking to Peter, and MJ basically was like, "Well, I make out during lunch." Peter says nothing. Peter basically is going through a bunch of emotions, and later on he does break up with MJ. It's not because basically that she did something wrong. It's something he did something wrong, because he's going through some terrible emotion problems here, because related to Harry being back. So he stopped the guy from robbing basically a hot dog vendor, and he accidentally hit him. He had to take him to the hospital, but he thought basically he had killed him. But no, according to Captain Jeannie the Wolf, why is she called Jeannie? It makes no sense. Just call her Jean the Wolf. I guess Bendis want to be different, and there's a spoiler I'll get to later on about her where, yeah, the gladiator thing. So he's not arrested, self-defense, and it was an accident. So then, of course, he gets a phone call. Then we see Harry in a basement with a bunker, where you have some goblin masks, which I love the fact we have a little nod here to movie Green Goblin and 616. There's even have Harry pick up one of Dr. Octopus's arms, probably. Then we have some of the Oz formula, and he apparently doesn't want this at all. Then he's knocked unconscious, like kill the mother. Yep. And then he is just taken back to his apartment. And then, of course, basically, Peters leaves class. And, of course, eats by himself. And he's not dead. He's not dead, Mary. He's exactly what I told you was. Locked away. He's not... Why did I hear you say that? Yeah. Because he's nuts. Yeah. His best friend being nuts. Yep. And then, of course, you have flashback to when Dr. Octopus and Nolan are going to do some experiments. And then it's revealed that, well, Harry basically gets infected with the Oz formula and becomes the ultimate version of Hobgoblin. Yep, they decided to do that. Also mentioned Gwen Stacy's dead. The Spy Fiction Killer came back. Yes, as for why they just did this, so yeah, basically where he tries to stop him. Of course, it goes on for a little while here. And then we see Ultimate Iron Man just flying around. He doesn't do much anything in here. Not really. He does pop up later on to deal with another character, which is kind of weird. So, Nick Fury sends out with a Hulkbuster unit to deal with basically this Hobgoblin. And Peter asks, obviously, like, why did this happen? Like, why is he back here? So he's taken care of. Look, why is he picking to kill him? Why? And Fury's ignoring him. So what's Peter's response? Punching him. Yes, he punched him so hard he knocked out his eye patch. And then he gets knocked out. He told him to go home. And then he's like, is he breathing? Yes, sir. Keep it that way. Yes, sir. I want the Oz formula cracked for my birthday. Get everyone on it. Yes, sir. Osborn wasn't that smart. Oh, by the way, they do mention that apparently when he broke out last in the Ultimate 6 miniseries, he didn't go to that bunker where Harry was in. He went someplace else. And he also planned to take away Peter's powers, and then, of course, he just walks away from MJ. And then we have Tandy Brown, Dagger, who is not Dagger here yet. And he apparently is like distracted. Yeah, Peter is just so distracted. He's like, where are you going? Bathroom. Sit there with this. Or what? You fame me? I could teach this class. And everybody's gonna laugh at it. And then Tandy's like, oh, you hang out with her? Yeah, and then we have this guy show up here. Who MJ starts hanging around with this guy who don't know who he is. So we got some Flash Thompson here. Yep. Yeah, and then of course the stuff with Silvermane, and then he is killed by Hammerhead. Now I should point out though, yeah, this is the first time I haven't appeared in this very book, but it's not his first appearance in the Ultimate Universe. For some weird reason, I'm not sure why in the world the editorship for the Ultimate Marvel line at the time did this. They had Hammerhead first pop up in Ultimate X-Men. where he got killed supposedly by Gambit, and then he pops up here complete random. And he keeps leaving class, and then Fist basically comes from, oh, Superman is dead. And he's like, oh, call in Elektra. And Hammerhead's like, oh, I'm taking over the territory. Even shot in the head. Nope. Nothing works. And then all of a sudden we see the ultimate debut of Moon Knight. Yes, Moon Knight. And we also see the ultimate debut of Danny Rand, aka Iron Fist, who in the Ultimate Knight storyline decided to become a traitor because apparently he's also a parent in this universe, where he in the Ultimate version of Colleen Wing had a child. So, Moon Knight, of course, also we have Elektra pop here too. There's also a nod to 616 Moon Knight with Stephen Grant as one of his aliases. And of course, they printed. James doesn't do much in these issues at all. Not really. And then we have Elektra just saying, oh, we have, oh, let's go see the Kingpin. And you have Elektra's like, Mr. Fist would like to speak with you. And then he just looks at Elektra. It's like, she looks back. He looks at, but you can stop staring at him. And she smiles at the fact that Spider-Man stared at her chest. Probably because she realized, though, yes, Spider-Man thinks she's hot. Yep. And then we have Fist eating a pizza. Because characters like eating pizza in this book. So, there was a library. Of course, there's a problem with Hammerhead. Of course, he's after him. By the way, we basically have this storyline basically be a setup for Ultimate Knights. Which basically we have debut in these issues of Shang-Chi as well. So, Peter, of course, skipping class, meet up with Jean DeWolf. And basically, yeah, the whole thing with Hammerhead, they get a fight with him. And then by pure randomness, Black Cat shows up. Yes, Black Cat shows up. This, of course, is Ultimate Black Cat, who in this universe is older than Peter. Who actually they make out with. She makes her first kissing his mask, then kissing his lips. And then when she fully sees his face, sees that he's a minor, she vomits. Then she disappears. Never to heard of an universe ever again. It's almost like Bendis brought her in just because he wanted to recapture the flirtation magic that Denny O'Neil created back in the 70s. Yes. Yes. Okay. Looks like we have to stop right here. About talking about halfway through this book here, so yeah. So, to be continued on my special episode, okay?